Hi, I'm Rebecca Hutton, President and CEO of Leadership Indianapolis, and this is the Convo. Today we are talking with Julie Goodman, who is the President and CEO of the Arts Council of Indianapolis. Hi, Julie.
Hi,
It's great to see you.
great to see you.
We've been lucky enough to have Julie speak to some of our programs in the past, and so as we've been having more and more of these conversations about how community leaders and organizations are stepping up during this high pressure time around COVID-19. The Arts Council and Julie, your work immediately rose to the top for us. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk with you about the way that you all are responding and investing in the community right now. But before we jump into that, for those people who may not be as familiar with the Arts Council and the work that you do, can you kind of give us an understanding of what's the Arts Council's mission? What does your work look like under normal circumstances?
Sure. So under normal circumstances, we exist to really engage the community and foster meaningful engagement in the arts that supports a culture for artists and arts organizations to thrive. So it's really about helping to create that culture, that ecosystem for artists and arts organizations to thrive. And the pivot here is that we want to help them thrive and survive and sustain them through this situation. And so that during normal times, we do that as really serving as the lead advocacy and service agency for arts and culture organizations and artists and services to the public. And that looks like, we administer the annual grants program on behalf of the city of Indianapolis. So that is about public funding to the arts and 70 organizations that participate in that program annually. We have artist fellowships that we support that are privately funded through philanthropy. We do a lot in the public art realm on behalf of the city, and also artist services and specific supports for artists. And then we also own and operate the Indianapolis Arts Garden, which is something that not everybody knows is connected to the Arts Council, but that's a big part of our mission is using that as an opportunity to promote the arts in Indianapolis as a community stage. And then we also own and operate Gallery 924. So that's everything that happens on a
You guys stay pretty busy.
Yeah. And obviously, just making sure the community understands what's happening in arts and culture and has access to information. So we do the Indy Arts Guide newsletter, the Indy Arts Guide website, and just make sure that those resources are available to everyone in the community.
Yeah. So one, thank you for all of that. I have to admit, I have a bias towards arts and artists because my background is in the arts. I was trained as a ballet dancer and made my living as an artist for many years, and serve on the board of Indiana Repertory Theater. Still love my indie arts very much, and so I was really, really appreciative not only of the work that you do always, but to see how quickly you responded when the COVID-19 situation started to really escalate, and it became clear that this was going to have a dramatic impact on our entire community, but specifically for the arts community. I know that you did a survey in which you found that 95% of individual artists anticipate significant losses as a result of closures and cancellations resulting from the pandemic, and 2/3 of organizations anticipated a similar kind of an impact. So can you tell us a little bit about the Indie Arts and Culture COVID-19 Fund that you've brought some people around and have launched?
Sure, absolutely. So just a little bit of background on how we got there. I mean, this is affecting everybody, every sector, every family, every individual, every business. And as we started, and so for the arts and culture sector in Indianapolis and the nonprofit sector in particular, our nonprofit arts and culture sector contributes $440 million in annual economic impact in our city. and we serve 8 million residents and tourists every year, and we employ 30,000 artists and arts and culture workers, and that's across over 125 organizations. So I just share that to give some landscape to this sector. And it's of course about the art and the value of arts and culture in our daily lives and what that means to us, but it's also about the impact to our economy and all of the employment ramifications that come with that, and the people. So when we started to see this escalate in the timelines and the closure requirements, we immediately moved to do a quick impact study. So this was on March 13th. It was a Friday. We had a call with all of our arts leaders to start to assess what they were seeing and experiencing. We did this impact survey, and between March 13th and March 16th, we had over about 700 independent artists respond and about 140 organizations. It was an incredibly fast response. And that told us a lot of important information that we then, we got all of the feedback on that Monday, the 16th, and Tuesday we convened a coalition of community funders who had all been engaged, who wanted to understand what was happening, were very concerned and wanted to understand how they could help. And so what we learned through the survey is that we had over 1,000 cancellations and closures happening. And as the timelines extend, that number just grows, of course, with more classes and events being impacted. And you shared the data around the devastating impact that's having on people's personal well-being and personal financial stability and organizational finances and organizational stability. And so based on all of that quick data, there was a decision made to focus first. We're thinking about this in phases at the Arts Council, and the first phase really became about support for individuals, and specifically support for so many in arts and culture who are 1099 employees or working as freelancers and independent contractors. And it's about half and half in terms of that 30,000 employees working in our sector. About half of them are independents and working as freelancers or contract employees. And we were very worried about this immediate evaporation of income because of these cancellations and closures. So we decided so this was really co-created with these funders, and we together concluded that the best first line of action needed to be to provide support to individuals who are impacted. And of course, this is happening across our community through the amazing work of the United Way of Central Indiana. Our fund is intended to just be a supplement to complement that for people working within our sector. Practically speaking too, we knew that if we didn't have a centralized way for people who care about arts and culture in Indianapolis to engage, we could end up with how many independent efforts and just dilute the impact and the resources. So we wanted to make sure that we were moving quickly to be able to really unify all of our arts and cultural partners and have a central source, a trusted source for our artists to be able to go to for information, for help. So that's kind of the backstory on how it all came together. And we had some lead funders from that Tuesday, from the very first moment they heard the survey data say we're in. They committed $50,000 each. We're now at $300,000 thanks to these contributions of $50,000 by the Allen Whitehill Clues Charitable Foundation. CICF was one of the first to engage, the Crystal DeHaan Family Foundation, Ephraimson Family Fund, Glick Philanthropies, and the Herbert Simon Family Foundation. So, I mean, just incredible, immediate, swift support for the community. And then there's a GoFundMe public campaign, and the Ephraimson Family Fund is also matching grants up to $25,000 for that. We're already over $20,000 in the first week of that campaign. So it's just been a tremendous outpouring of support for the sector. And I think it's much needed financial support, but it's also such an important validation and message of hope and value to our artistic community, and how much they mean to the city, that the community's rallied this quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point's well taken. The financial support is obviously really, really important, but that validation, that sense that this is something the city, even in a really difficult time, values, and organizations and funders and individuals are all willing to say, like, this, it's really important we make sure this sector survives.
Yeah.
Can you, for folks that want to support, get involved, how do they do that?
So the first thing I'll say is we just want to make sure anyone who's working in the creative sector knows how to apply for help. So we had over 200 applications in the first week. We're doing these reviews on a rolling cycle. We're reviewing them every day, trying to get decisions and funds in and out as fast as we possibly can. And so if you just go to indykeepscreating.org, there's information about how to apply. There's information about how to donate. And then importantly, there's also a window into all of the virtual content that's happening in our city right now. And so the other piece of this, the fund is one piece, but the other piece of this that's been really important is a really simple idea, again, about just how to create connection and community during this time of social distancing and isolation and so much challenge. And so we saw what was happening organically, because artists are artists, and they're going to create, and they're going to share, and they want to help provide that hope and healing to our community. And so we just came up with this really simple hashtag, Indy Keeps Creating, and asked everybody in the creative community and our arts community to start using that with their content. And so we have an aggregator on the microsite that just is a window to be able to see everything that's happening. And Visit Indy is so generously sharing that as well. And in fact, Visit Indy jumped on board in support of the United Way and the Arts Council, and did their Indy t-shirt campaign, just to give us all a little civic pride boost during this time. And they sold those t-shirts for $10. They raised $60,000 in 6 days.
I bought mine.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get it.
I know. I bought them for my entire team. I'm like, when we're all back together, we are wearing this and getting a picture. And oh my gosh, just sending the biggest thank you to the community. But that's huge. I mean, $30,000 into the fund from that is amazing. So those are the ways that are specific to the fund, and just being connected to everything that's happening in the community, from a virtual content, virtual experiences, virtual classes, and lots of great stuff for kids, by the way, if you're looking for
I'm sure lots of parents are.
yeah. But there are other really important ways for the community to support arts and culture right now. And I want to say all of this is in perspective of the incredible work that our healthcare workers are doing, everyone who's on the front lines of this, from our healthcare workers to the people who are helping to protect our community from safety and food and water and shelter and utilities and childcare, right? All of those critical needs.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you for all the work that you and the Arts Council are doing. We are grateful to have you in Indianapolis.
Thank you. Thank you to the community. Thank you for your leadership, and everyone that's part of Leadership Indianapolis. We appreciate you so much, and we will get through this together.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great.